नहमदुहु नसल्ली अला रसूलिल करीम अम्मा बाद फ़ाऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम. Dear student, I want today to explain the statistic. What is statistic and what role they play in the development of a country and what role they play in research. So first of all, I want to define the statistic. There are so many definitions about statistic, but according to my view, statistic is the collection of data, processing of data, editing of data, and analysis of data and investigation of some problem. These are steps called statistic. So when we do the research, we go to field. First of all, we collect the data. It will be primary, it will be pooling data, it will be time series data, as well as it will be cross-sectional data. But first, we identify the problem, on which problem we will do the research, and then we make the objective of this problem, and then according to objective make the questionnaire and go to field, collect the data. These collection and processing and punching the data in computer, these all process is called statistic. Now we want to define some term of statistic. There you will see the central tendency. In central tendency, mostly you will see the means, arithmetic means, harmonic mean, geometric means, as well as the mood and median. If any number and data is more, frequency is more, this is called mood. The number of frequency which is more in the data, this is the mood of the data. The second one is the median. When we arrange all the data in ascending or descending order and divided these data by 2. If the data, the number is odd, then we add 1 and we divided and we check the median of the data. There the second one is harmonic mean and geometric mean, but these things mostly not come in research. There is decile, percentile, etc., quartile. So decile, when we divide the data into 10 parts, this is called decile. When we divide the data into 100 parts, this is called percentile. And when we divided the whole data into 4 parts, this is called quartile. So these terms you will see in day-to-day life when you conduct the research. But there also another few items which come in statistic. There the central tendency in averages, arithmetic mean have defined, but the second one, there is variance. When we take the deviation from the averages, this is called variance. When we take the square root of variance, automatically it is called standard deviation. There also you will see the standard error. When you divided standard deviation by n minus 1 under the root, this is called standard error. But in statistic, you will also see different tests. Pre-testing of the questionnaire. Pre-testing of the questionnaire mean when you go to field, if you have not collect the data and you have prepared the questionnaire, first you go to field and you will check the situation, what type of materials are there, so you will eliminate those questions which not in the field, and you add those questions which you have observed after pre-testing in the field, you will add in the questionnaire. So there is, you will see the T mean comparison of two means. T has three types: sample t-test, pair t-test, and independent t-test. When the comparison is after and before, there we will apply the pair t-test. But if the situation is different and we compare the means, there we will use the independent t-test. But if the data is simple, then you will apply the simple t-test, and you will calculate the averages, and you will check the data, how much data is above and how much data is below. Now we come to regression. There you have knowledge about two main atoms. The one atom is independent and the second atom is dependent variable. Anything which change, whose value is changeable, this is called variable. Whose value is not changeable, this is called constant. So there are so many variables whose data stepwise changes. There is independent variable and there is dependent variable. Independent variable is that variable which not depend on other, but they create a change in the dependent variable. And dependent variable is that variable there they not take any change, but they create changes by other variable. In simple way, independent variable is a that variable which increase or decrease create a change in the dependent variable. But dependent variable not we take a change in it, but the change occur from the independent variable. For example, if you go to field, you cultivate the land and you sow the seed, and there are sunlight, there are the quality of soil, and there the quality of seed. These are the independent variable, and these thing differences create a change in the production. So I have already told to you that when there is a frost and winter season, they affect the production of the crops. So this is the independent variable. Output is the dependent variable. There are also some other atom we discuss in statistic regression. Regression, it is the relationship between independent and dependent variable. So this is called regression. Regression, one is simple regression and the second is multiple regression. In simple regression, the independent variable number is 1, but in multiple regression, the independent variable is more than 1. So therefore it is called multiple regression. It plays a great role in research, and through this way we forecast for the future. Similarly, sometimes there are different model the people use. Model mean it is the simple form any problem. For example, if you cultivate the land, there are so many inputs and there are outputs, so we make y is equal to constant plus beta x1 plus beta x2 plus beta x3. So there are so many variables which affect the crop production. This is y, and when the variable is more, this is called multiple regression. Nowadays, there are also another model also used. Sometime the model, parametric model fail, and when the parametric model fail, then we go to non-parametric model. For example, if we apply the t-test and they have some assumption, when they not fulfill, then we will go to sign test or Wilkerson sign test. On the other side, if the regression fail, multiple regression fail, then we go to non-parametric test, quantile regression. So there are also logistic regression. There are logit model. They are used chi-square. They are used for the purpose of research. If the student don't know these items, then it is impossible for the student who conduct the research very well. For research is a process. There we do some step and we find the solution of the problem. Research is a systematic and objective attempt to study the problem and check the variable, what type of variable are there and how they have created the problem, and next step, then you will conduct the research how to solve the problem. So research only focus for the development of a country. Every student of the world try. When there is problem, they try and they want to solve the problem and they conduct the research. And there are so many institutions in the world, they all try how to increase the production of something. For example, if there is engineering university, the engineering university also try how to solve the problem of electricity and how to control the load shedding, and they want how to make good roads as a civil engineer. There are agriculture university play a role for the food production. So there are so many branches of the agriculture are present, and everyone and every expert has their own duty. So they solve the problem of agriculture and they want how to increase per capita income of the people and per capita production of the people to solve the problem of the food crisis. So in research, you will know, first of all, we come to research proposal, synopsis. In research proposal, it is your duty to go to field and you identify some problem, and then you prepare a research, a synopsis on this topic. The first thing in synopsis is introduction. In introduction, we define the problem as well as we discuss the importance, and as well as you will focus on the objective why we have done the study on this topic. So you will mention also the justification of the problem in introduction sector, and there you will also put nowadays the hypothesis. There is a null hypothesis, there is alternative hypothesis, there is simple hypothesis, there is composite hypothesis. There are so many hypotheses. When the researcher conduct the research, they put these hypotheses there and they check either the hypothesis rejected, either the hypothesis accepted. So in research, this is the first step in synopsis. The second step is the review of literature. Review of literature, the topic which you have, you will put in the net, and then you will see the literature which is relevant with the topic. You will study it and you will make the abstract and you will note it in the review of literature, because review of literature is the place where we conduct the conducting research which were in the past. So we know how the past scientists have conducted the research, so we take help from these methodology and in the present research, how to fix our methodology for the present research. So review of literature is a very important section, because sometimes when you write the result, you will also see to the review of literature. If someone discussion is related with your research, so you will also discuss the research of that person, and you will also research the your research, and you will compare it, and you will see the gap, and you will analyze the situation and discussion. So there are so many review of literature we download from the net, and sometimes we take the review of literature from the books and from the library, and we will write the review of literature chapter. But on the review of literature chapter, we write the conclusion. So conclusion is the simple and short form of the review of literature, and what you have read in the review of literature, so we will concluding, and you will check the past research, and then we will compare this research with your research, what type of deficiency and gap is there. So you will also want how to cover these gap and how to solve the deficiency of the past. So this is the chapter of the review of literature. Now the third chapter is research methodology. And research methodology mean the way of doing something. They have 4 or 5 steps. And 4 steps, the first one is universe of the study, where you conducting the research. This is your research. Sometime you will conducting the research in the field, on the farm, but sometime you will conduct the research in the community or the villages which link with the human being, and sometimes the research link with the plants and living organism. So in research you will identify your universe, and you will discuss the universe, what type of condition of that area is, and you will check where you will conducting the research, and you will also write the latitude of that area, and you will also write the power boundaries of the area, and you will write the production, as well as you will write the total population of that area. And then you it is not necessary that you take the full universe for the study, because our government developing country, they are poor and they have no money how to access to these areas. So you will take the sample. But first of all, for sampling fixing, there are so many formula. They use the first formula. There is a Yamani formula, and Yamani formula is a formula, and with the help of this formula we fix the sample size, and then we, through allocation proportion methodology, distribute the sample to the selected villages. And then you will try how to collect the data. So for data collection, you will you have a tool, questionnaire, and with the help of questionnaire you will collect the data for primary data. But you will also use the published data. But sometime the research is in the field, so you will take observation in the field, for example for the plant research or for the other, and then you will note it these observation, and you will record it, and then you will analyze the situation. Further, there is a data analysis. For data analysis, sometimes we use the percentage methodology, and sometimes we use the decile methodology. and sometime we use descriptive statistic, and sometime we put some model for the analysis. Among these model, you have knowledge regression model, there are chi-square model, there are t-test. So there are so many model, but sometimes the model have some assumption. For example, for t-test there is the normality. Normality, if the data is not normal, we not apply the t-test and we go to Wilkerson sign test. But normality, when the data mean, mood, and median consider 1 point. Second, the data is not symmetrically, they are symmetrically distributed and there is no skewness, and the line of the curve with not touch the horizontal line. So if these quality are present, this is called normal. But sometimes with the help of graph we check the normality of the data. There are so many tests, Shapiro, Kalmagru test, and sometimes we use the Jagbera test for the normality of the data. But the second one, there is a multicollinearity. Multicollinearity, there an independent variable in the model. They sometimes take some relation with one another, so they affect the output. So for this purpose, we will check the multicollinearity. For multicollinearity, we use the VIF, variance inflation factor, and there, when the variance inflation factor value is less than 5, then we consider there is a no multicollinearity. But if there is a it is above, then there is a multicollinearity, so the assumption fail. Similarly, there is a heterodicity, so there is the variance, so we check Pagan test. So we check the situation. If these three assumption not fulfilled, so we not apply the regression model and we go to other model, and we want how to analyze the situation if the assumption not fulfilled and you apply the model. So your result will give the wrong result, and they will create a problem, because there you will write the recommendation and other thing for the community and for the government. If the government apply these research in the field, automatically it will give not a good result, and the production will not they achieve, and the target will not they achieve. So after research methodology, there is a references and there is a questionnaire. So these there are 5 sections in the synopsis as well as in the research proposal. Research research synopsis is the layout of the thesis. So it is the layout which we prepare, and then we go to field and we conduct the collect the data, analyze the data, and then we write the report, and after report we write the summary and conclusion recommendation, and then we through board of study we will approve, and then the interview occur, and through interview you get the degree. So there are so many data, qualitative data and quantitative data. Sometimes which come quantitative data is that data which we measure with the help of interval scale and ratio scale. When the data is qualitative, then we measure with the help of nominal and ordinal scale. So if they fail in the interval or ratio scale, so then the data is called qualitative data. Okay, it was a few lecture for the student to know what is research and what is statistic and what type of items are used in statistics. There few things I have discussed, but later on we will also discuss some other items which come in the research, which come in day-to-day life in report writing. Wassalam.